Hello, everybody. My name is Sifrin, and happy Valentine's Day, I suppose. I'm a product of love, and the art mama loves me very much, so I figured I'd go back to her passion project, Astra's demo. Yeah, if this looks familiar, a few videos ago, a lot of videos ago actually, I started reading out this twinery.org project, and thanks to the interest of um, one of my loyal followers, one of my frequent commenters, Mohamed Omer 9081. Please correct me if I mispronounced your name, your username. I encourage you to please correct me if I have mispronounced your name. Wanted to know what Lady Greenfyre's route was on Astra's demo. So today I will be doing that. Once again, you have to heed the warnings at the beginning of the video. I'll put the warnings. Well, actually, there's warnings right here. Content warning for mentions of death, mental struggles, sadness, familial complications, and the like. And the like might be a little redundant, but, well, let's get started. If you're new here, I'll have a link to the first video in this series in the description below. Otherwise, if you're all caught up, let's buckle in and enjoy the ride. First, let me set up a timer. I forgot to do that when I started recording. Okay, timer is going. Let's roll. You look at Artemis, and his wagging fluffy tail says he's really eager to meet you. But what is there to meet? You were just created, after all. You want to know more about your purpose and what all you can do. Your gaze returns to Lady Greenfyre. Potion making sounds like fun, you say, but I'd rather observe you at your craft. I don't want to break anything. But of course, dear, Greenfyre giggles. I'd be happy to show you where you were created. The two of you venture into the kitchen, where Peggy Kitty is walking off with an armful of sweets, and descend into the basement. Watch your step, dear. Lady Greenfyre, despite being shorter than you, is holding your hand as you walk down. No slips, no falls, just easy stepping. Once you are at the bottom, you look at the wondrous workshop Greenfyre has built. Shelves with all sorts of mystical brews, books strewn about on a couple of lecterns, multiple pieces of equipment such as a mortar and pestle, a cauldron, various beakers, and many, many ingredients. Greenfyre gestures, to a corner of the room with a lone chair surrounded by multiple half-empty bags of clay. That's where you were born. It took many, many attempts to get you looking how I wanted you to, and even more attempts to make you structurally sound. I spent an arm and a leg for all those sculpting lessons. Confusedly, you look at her from head to toe. Either an arm or a leg are missing. It's a figure of speech. It means it cost a lot. Figure of speech. You process these words carefully as you sound them out. You're not sure what you're doing exactly, but you nod your head regardless. Don't think too hard about it. You'll hurt yourself. Looking at the lone chair and bags of clay one last time, you peel away to see the rest of the workshop. You're leaving your room of creation or birth behind. So why did you put me in that special room to cook instead of cooking me yourself? Didn't she technically do that? I don't know. Ah, Greenfyre trails off, wringing her hands nervously. Well, I didn't want to overdo it, darling, or else you would have shattered and I have to start all over again, making you body from scratch. You were cooked in that special room over a period of hours using a steady temperature throughout your cook time. Could Greenfyre not do that? I supplied the kiln room with my own flames and heat. I needed you to cook evenly. Just blasting you with fire wouldn't do. Sippy time. That makes sense, you nod. To be honest, I prefer not using my fire very often. You're a special case, my Astra. There's that heat again, creeping up on your cheeks. You try to rub it off, but it still remains. But why don't you like using your powers that much? Greenfyre grimaces, looking down. She struggles to get the words out. Bad things happen, is what she manages to spit out. Bad? What do you mean? Darling, I'm not going to get into that with you right now. Please, let's drop it. Sweat is dotting her forehead. She's slightly trembling. She badly wants to tell you the truth, but something is keeping her. Greenfyre takes a deep breath, letting it out slowly, and dabs the sweat away with a tissue. Okay, just manifest a tissue from somewhere, that's fine. I'm sorry, my power is a touchy subject for me. You don't need to worry about it. Do I have power? You ask. You should. Her face changes into a big grin, lightly gripping your arm. I created you with immense amounts of potential. Not even I know what powers you'll have, or what choices you'll make. I didn't want to make you predictable. I wanted to make you into a genuine person that creates their own life. Just like you smile back at her. But her smile freezes. Her eyes awkwardly dart back and forth. She grips your arm tighter and says, No, honey, not like me. Why not? I make bad things happen. That's all you need to know. I'm bad luck. You're a creator. Bad luck. That just doesn't make sense to you. But the cabin, Peggy, Nicholas, Artemis. Greenfyre shakes her head harshly. The flowers? You stammer. They looked beautiful when we removed them from the ground and got them into the greenhouse. The thing is, Greenfyre chokes back tears. I try to make beauty in this world. I think that's a wonderful thing, you smile reassuringly. So far everything I've seen has been beautiful. The snowflakes, the flowers, the new faces, this cabin. Are they not beautiful? Greenfyre tries to hide her tears. She tries to keep a happy face, but she's shaking again. Those things could never be born from my power, she says quietly, shaking her head. You gesture to yourself and raise an eyebrow. You are the lone exception. You're pulled into a hug, and wordlessly you hug her back. Her deep purple hair smells fruity, yet also like the fireplace in the living room. It's taken me such a long time to learn to control myself, she weeps, still trying to stop herself from crying. Bit redundant. Her words are becoming more and more choked. It means you've come a long way, doesn't it? You ask, trying your best to pick her up. It means you've conquered a lot of obstacles. Greenfyre pulls away from you, hurriedly drying her face with her sleeves. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cry on you. It's fine, Lady Greenfyre. My shirt is soaked, but I have fur. It's okay. It's not okay. I'm not okay. I try to be strong and reliable for the others, but I'm just so lost without her. Just then, you remember someone's name being mentioned after you were given form. Her. Lydia. Greenfyre nods. She was my mentor. My mother. Mother? She didn't give birth to me, but she gave me a home. Does that make you my mother, then? Greenfyre shakes her head softly this time. You are my creation, my greatest one yet, but you are your own person. I created you to be an adult, so all the guidance you need would be from your friends. Are we friends? She laughs, wiping her face again. Of course we are. Friends and family. I'm so glad to finally meet you. But what is there to meet, you ask? I was just born. Today. That's what's so beautiful about you. Her eyes start leaking again, but this time with happiness. You're a fresh canvas, and you can paint yourself however you'd like. You hug each other again, this time more tightly, but something still lurks in the back of your mind. Multiple things still lurk, in fact. Where do you even begin? You were just created and you've seen so much, but this is barely a percentage of the world. Is this world as beautiful as the cabin? Then you recall there being a villain. You try to remember more. Who is he? What is he doing? Who all did he hurt? If you have power, is it enough to stop him? Astra? You snap back to the current moment. I'm sorry. I was thinking again. You have nothing to worry about. But what's on your mind? Who's the bad guy again? Her brow furrows, fists clenching tightly. Dr. Memphis. She spits the name out venomously, like she tasted it before. Her face turns dark, eyes burning with hatred. I could give you a whole list of things he's done, but you'd probably crumble to dust before I'd reach the halfway point, throwing her fists into the air and gritting her teeth. It's because of him this world is so rotten. I'd grab his neck and squeeze it if it wouldn't kill me upon contact. This world is rotten because of him. The world as we know it, yes, she huffs. The secondary reason I created you was to aid us in defeating him once and for all. I don't know what my power is, though. And you'll find out in due time. We can't launch our attack on him yet. Not in this weather. Weather. The snowflakes from earlier flashed into your mind. How they drifted into your palm and melted upon contact before you could scrutinize them. Absent-mindedly, you find yourself glancing at your hands, clenching and unclenching them into fists. My power, you say to yourself. Does everybody in this cabin have some sort of power? Greenfyre smiles. Mm-hmm. Artemis has power over wind. Nicholas can manipulate the earth. Peggy Kitty can fly, heal, and enact barriers. Wait, why does Peggy Kitty have multiple powers? Greenfyre runs a hand through her hair and sputters her lips, shrugging. She's a unique case. Like you. I think the two of you would become good friends, honestly. So there's a chance I, too, could have multiple powers. It's a possibility, she admits, crossing her arms, lips tilted. But again, that'll have to be discovered later. Right, we're snowed in. Such a shame, too. I would have taken you shopping and gotten you something nice. This makes you laugh, and there's that warmth again, this time spreading from your chest outwards. Would it have been a cool superhero outfit with my underwear on the outside? Greenfyre erupts into laughter, too. No, no, my dear, Greenfyre quiets to a giggle. I would have gotten you something stylish. Hearing her laugh, her giggle, it makes you feel at ease. You feel like you've successfully steered the conversation into a positive direction. But you feel bad after learning that Lady Greenfyre doesn't like using her power often, if at all. She makes it sound like she's cursed, even going so far as to call herself bad luck. That still doesn't make sense to you. So, potions? Silly me! Greenfyre slaps her forehead. I was so wrapped up in our little talk that I completely forgot. She walks over to a table with all the equipment and grabs some ingredients. Let me show you how I make growing cream. Peggy Kitty has a mental disorder that causes her to rip her own hair and fur out. So what growing cream does is make the hair and fur grow back, wherever it's placed on her body. That sounds like an awful disorder to have. Being compulsed to rip your own hair or fur out? Doesn't that hurt? Isn't that pointless? You raise your eyebrow. She's just going to pull her hair and fur out again. Greenfyre sighs. It's something to do with her brain chemistry, how it's wired. She can't help doing it, but having various tools to keep it control, that makes no sense, helps her out a lot. Such as keeping her hands busy, for one. My cream has a cooling effect where it's placed. Here, let me demonstrate. Uh-oh. Greenfyre takes out a circular blue tin and takes the top off, revealing pure white cream. She places it on the table, gets a strip of paper with wax on one side, and says, "Forgive me, darling." What the fuck? You take a step back, but Greenfyre takes your arm, places the strip on you, and packs it on tightly. What are you doing? She rips the paper off, grimacing. You recoil in stinging pain, grabbing your arm. Your arm fur is now on the sticky side of the duct tape. I feel like that may have been an error. Oh well. Ow! You shout. What was that for? The pain stops, but your arm is still barren. Greenfyre grabs the opened tin, procures a small portion of cream onto her fingers, and applies it to the bare spot on your arm. It's cooling, soothing, and your arm fur grows back instantaneously. You look at your arm in disbelief and tug at the newly formed fur. You clench, flex, wiggle, the fur stays on. This recipe is also something that took multiple attempts to get right, Greenfyre beams at you, patting your arm. So it takes a while to get the results you want, you ask. Basically, that's how it is in life. You nod, once again looking at all the workshop has to offer. Okay, I'm ready. Excellent. Greenfyre claps her hands together, then grabs a bunch of random ingredients, all with neat labeling. First, we start with boiling a quart of moon water, water that's been charged by the moonlight. But that's all you manage to pay attention to. Greenfyre continues her lesson, adding this and that into the cauldron once the water has boiled. You try to stay focused, but all of this goes in one ear and out the other. It's like she's speaking another language entirely while she works. All you can do is watch. Your head is spinning, unable to retain the information Greenfyre is trying to give you. Are you all right, dear? Um, ah. You sputter foolishly and wring your hands. Yes. Just trying to focus is all. Greenfyre bites her lip in response. Am I going too fast? Oh, it's just a lot. How one ingredient can have several uses, two ingredients having the same uses, and stuff like that. It's all right, Astra. When I first started out, it was confusing to me too. Why did you keep going, though? I was determined, dear. Even though my first, second, third batches of potions were complete disasters, I didn't give up. Of course, there were multiple times I was crying and wanted to give up, but I persevered. That sounds like an awful time. And it was. But Lydia was my guide through each and every step of the way. Lydia. That name again. You get a sinking feeling in your stomach. What happened to Lydia? She's no longer with us, Astra. She's dead. 6 feet under. How did she die? Heart failure. Greenfyre is near tears again, but takes a deep breath. One morning, Peggy Kitty and I had made breakfast, and Lydia was stiff and cold. There's a pang in your chest, like an ice-cold hand gripping your stomach. I'm sorry, Greenfyre. She went out peacefully, Greenfyre adds. But enough about that. Look closely into the cauldron. Sorry, I was checking the time. You peer into the cauldron and see yourself reflected in the white cream. I see me. Me in the cream. Greenfyre giggles. That's my first successful original recipe, that growing cream. When I first saw that cream come up, it was a sight I didn't think I'd see in a million years. I was overjoyed. Now, it wasn't perfect, but it was a step in the right direction. I was onto something. I just had to refine it however many times it needed until it was perfect. White gold, I called it. Greenfyre grabs another tin and scoops the cream up into it, screwing the lid on tightly. And that's how I make growing cream. What made you want to make a growing cream in the first place? Greenfyre looks up towards the staircase. I did it for Peggy Kitty. When she was going through puberty, all sorts of mental illnesses popped up. She didn't want to get out of bed. She didn't want to do anything. She was miserable. And this cream made her happy. This cream is a message of love. However many times you fall, I'll always be here to pick you back up again. Will I go through puberty? You shudder at the thought. No, no, you're fully grown. I wouldn't make you go through that. You laugh slightly, and your next question is innocent. What was your puberty like? Silence. The tension becomes thick, making it hard to breathe. Greenfyre? That's a touchy subject, darling. I don't want to get into that with you. Mentally, she's holding on to something heavy, hesitant to put it down for even a second. Why don't I fetch you ingredients for your potion orders, you offer? Greenfyre perks up again. I'd love that, darling. Here, let me pull up the sheet. She pulls out a large sheet of paper filled with orders. The amount makes your head spin, but Greenfyre is eager to get to work. The afternoon is spent gathering ingredients from the many shelves in the workshop, but you don't really absorb what they're there for, or what they do. You feel afraid, but not of the witch that made you. Of the witch that made you. You're anxious, trying not to show it. What happens when Greenfyre is angered? You shudder at the thought. But Greenfyre is gentle with you, reassuring. Not once does she raise her voice at you or threaten you. Your fear slowly dissipates. I know, it's a lot, but you're such a good help for me. She's a lot shorter than you, so she gets a stepping stool out and stands on it to give you a head pat. This gesture sparks a warmth within you. It spreads from the top of your head and descends into your belly, then down your legs and onto your feet. You feel energized like you can do anything. You feel you hardly did anything, but being rewarded with a head pat reassures you that you did a good job. There goes your heart again. The thump, the thump, the thump. Greenfyre giggles at your expression. Ah, look at the time. I better get you something to eat, Greenfyre says. Come with me. You follow Greenfyre back up the stairs into the kitchen, but your steps are a little noisy. Light steps, dear. Like this. Greenfyre demonstrates how to step lightly onto the ground, and you try to mimic what she shows you. You make some progress. You'll get the hang of it. Don't worry. Greenfyre walks to the fridge and opens the door. What would you like to eat? You rack your brain, trying to think, but nothing comes to mind. You shrug. I don't know. Can you pick for me? Of course, dear. I'll cook something nice for you. Go take a seat at the table. You head to the table and take a seat and notice how quiet it is in the cabin. Greenfyre gets to cooking in the kitchen while your ears pick up the sound of buttons being clicked, followed by occasional foul language. That sounds like me. What's that noise, you ask? Oh, that would be Peggy Kitty, Greenfyre says, spreading butter on the pan. She likes to play video games. Sometimes she gets a bit loud. I can tell her to quiet down if you want. You shake your head. It's fine. Looking at Greenfyre cooking, you watch her open a can of tomato soup and pour the red contents into a saucepan, while keeping an eye on the slices of bread in the frying pan. She's humming while she cooks for you, a soft, lovely tune. You can't help but hum along when you notice the rhythm. Are you humming with me? You blush. I'm sorry. It was catchy. No, no, I think we harmonize nicely. Greenfyre flips the bread slices and the scent that follows makes you drool. Your stomach grumbles again, so you rub it impatiently. Almost done, dear. You heard that. Greenfyre laughed softly. Nothing escapes my ears. Your fingertips drum on the wooden table, following the rhythm of before. It's very catchy. Glancing at your claws, you see how pristine and long they are, despite being created literally earlier today. Greenfyre turns off the stove and serves you a bowl of tomato soup and a plate of grilled cheese and notices you staring. Admiring your claws? They're quite long, you say, now eyeing the food presented to you. Ah, did I forget to trim them when I made you? I suppose I'll have to do that tomorrow. Is it painful? No, my dear. It's quite pleasant, like a haircut. Some people even decorate their claws. You try to imagine claws being decorated, but nothing comes to mind. You haven't experienced it before. Would you trim and decorate mine? You ask somewhat sheepishly. Of course, I have all kinds of polish, but I've kept you waiting long enough. Go ahead and eat. Shoving one half of the grilled cheese in your face. It's deliciously stringy and crispy, but a bit dry. The next bite, you dunk a corner into the tomato soup. The flavor is mind-blowing. Two food groups combining into something new and incredible. Of course, you've never had this before, but it's a pleasant experience regardless. Munch, munch. You repeat the dunking process until both halves of the grilled cheese are gone. Then you pick up the bowl of soup and gulp it down, spilling some onto your shirt along the way. But you don't care. It's so tasty. People usually eat soup with a spoon. Greenfyre walks over with a napkin in hand and wipes off your messy face and shirt. But the shirt is soaked. Oh dear. You'll need to change. Greenfyre gestures for you to follow her, so you get up and follow her through the living room and up the stairs. There's sounds of snoring, more buttons being pressed, and even pages being turned. Greenfyre leads you down the hall, and you approach a door with your name on it. Literally. There's a wooden sign hanging on it that says Astra. And that'll be it for today's video. I hope all of you are doing well, and thank you again to Mohamed Omer 9081. Once again, please correct me if I have mispronounced your name. I will try to get it right. For following me along, following along with me on this adventure of Astra's demo. Thank you, and see you next time.